Hey graphic designers, this is Mr. Granlund here, and I'm going to take you through how to do the text-based tutorial inside of Photopea. Now when this is all done, your finished project is going to look somewhat similar to this. So let's go through and I'm going to actually close this and start from the beginning. So I'm going to start by going to File, Open from URL. Now, I searched earlier for a picture of Greta Thunberg, and if you don't know who she is, she's a high school student from Sweden who's taken a stance against global warming, and she organized a bunch of student walkouts, and she even addressed the United Nations. Interesting stuff. I love seeing young people that kind of take charge and yeah, really do something, stand up for something. I found her on the Time magazine's 100 most influential leaders, which you can find here, and a little information about her. So I'm going to take this picture of Greta and I go to Open Image in New Tab, and that gave me this. And this URL right here is important for Photopea, so I can paste that in here and click OK. And it's going to take a minute, but it's going to give me that picture right there. I'm also going to go and copy the article here and paste that into Photopea as well. I'm going to click on the text tool. I'm going to click and drag so it covers the entire image, and I'm going to do Control V, and my size for this is 100 pixels, but you're going to want a text size a little bit like this, and you want the text to get run together a bit. And you can do that by going to Window and Character, and I make the leading 80% of whatever the text size is. You can even go as low as 70%. That gets really run together. And the reason you want to do that is you want the image to look like it's made out of the text. So I'm going to highlight this text, and I want to copy and paste it over and over again until it fills the page. Alright, we're going to check the box there, and I'm going to make a duplicate of that by dragging it to the New Layer button, and we're going to turn that into a rasterized layer. So we're going to go to Layer and Rasterize, and so that changes it from a text layer into a rasterized layer. I'm just going to turn that off for a second. Now this picture here of Greta, I'm going to duplicate this and turn it into a smart object. We're going to do something to it though. We're going to go to Image, Adjustments, and Black and White. And click OK. And then we're going to paint the outside of it black. And I've got my brush here. I set the hardness to 0 and the size to right around 850 works for me, and I'm just going to paint black all the way around her. And what this does is it just creates a nice kind of isolating effect for a composition here, and helps us focus on the most important aspect of this picture, our person. I'm going to take this layer, I'm going to go to Layer and Convert to Smart Object, and that's going to be important for the filter that we apply on this. So we're going to turn that text layer back on by clicking on the visibility eyeball, and I'm going to go to Filter, Distort, Displace, and it says Source Smart Object, and that's going to be our background copy right there. And I'm gonna increase the horizontal and the vertical warping. That's a little bit too much. Bring it down. And what I'm looking for on here is I'm looking for the text to look warped, but not so kind of like warped that you can't even read it anymore. 30 pixels seems to be okay. We'll go with that. And I'm going to click the blending mode for that layer, and I'm going to change it from normal to overlay. Now all of that text that was in the black areas is now hidden because of the blending mode. We're going to make another new layer, and we're going to create a gradient, and we're going to fill that layer with a gradient. Now we want, if we click on the rectangle of our gradient editor, you can add as many colors as you want. I got green, purple, and red there, and I'm just going to click and drag corner to corner, and it just makes that beautiful color across the whole thing. I'm going to change the blending mode of this layer. I'm going to go down to color, and you see that all the colors that I had on my gradient layer get applied to this layer, to all the layers underneath. I'm going to just try and put a little bit more color into that. That looks awesome. We're going to make another layer, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So I go to the zoom tool, and I'm going to make a rectangle, and then I'm going to do the subtract rectangle tool, make another rectangle in there so it's about evenly spaced, and we're going to create a border. So I'm just going to take my paintbrush, just going to make a simple light gray border. You can make the border any color you want, and I'm just painting it in. Go right around the edge. This creates a nice frame around my main subject. I'm going to select and deselect. Lastly, we're just going to write the person's name. To complete our poster design, you can click on the text here. Lots of interesting fonts. Increase the size. And I'm going to do Control-Alt-T, which is free transform, and put that to the side there. It'd be really neat if I had a quote from Greta, and we put that quote right in there to kind of really finish off the poster. But this looks good. I will go File, Export as, JPEG to turn that into the Unit 4 area of Schoology.